Hi, I'm Matt, and today we are starting and maybe finishing my garden wall. Previously, I cleared out the old deck, excavated, framed, and poured a grade beam garden wall. I then moved many metric moose tons worth of gravel and laid this beautiful flamed granite paver patio. Come hell or high water, we will finish this wall today, and with it, the whole deck. I need to do tile, custom mitered corners, wall cap, and grouting. I had a really hard time with this project. You could even call it a failure. We'll talk about it. I have a bunch of tips on how to deal with failure and problem projects. All right, we're back. All the patio's done, so we're on to the wall today. What we need to do is go and cut 30,000 of these tiles. I'm taking the 18 by 18 tiles and cutting them into 6 by 18 tiles. And then we're gonna put them up on the wall as a brick pattern. Let's get right into this. It's gonna take a long time. Honestly, this is the part of the project that I thought would be the hard part. Cutting 115 of these 18 by 18 1-inch granite pavers into 345 6 by 18 tiles. Boy, was I wrong, as you'll see in a minute. This wasn't fast, but it wasn't hard. This process took me around 2 weeks because I couldn't motivate myself to sit there for 4 straight hours cutting tile. Dragging this out was my first big mistake that made this project a failure. All right, so first thing that we gotta do here is we're gonna have to start putting in some layout lines. And what we have is we have the tiles that we cut, and they're gonna be spaced up. What we need to do is we need to set the level, mark the lines around the whole patio, and then we need to transfer it out onto the outside of the patio as well, so that it ends up matching all around the inside and outside of the patio. So this project is one of those projects that absolutely destroys you. As you can probably tell, it's a new day, and I had 6 hours without children, and I got precisely nothing done. I got stuff done, it just doesn't feel like it. I feel like this project is gonna be one of those projects that just drags on and on and on. So what you can't tell is that since we did all the patio, it's now like a month and a half later. I gotta get myself motivated again. I gotta get going. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. There's nothing technically hard about what I'm doing here. It's just putting tile on a wall, which I should be able to do because I've done it quite a lot. So I'll show you what I did get done now 4 days ago. And then hopefully we can start getting ourselves moving again and start getting this stone up on the wall so that it's a little bit nicer, so that I like working on this instead of what it is right now, and I just don't want to come out here anymore. So I got to get this done because I do want to move on to other projects, and if I can get this finished off, then we'll be in a bit better shape for that. Real DIY, this is the crap it is. Now, luckily, I am running a YouTube channel, so the only reason that I'm out here doing something today is because I'm gonna run out of content here to show you guys in a very short period of time. So I kind of have to finish this project off. I'll show you what I did, and then let's get into doing something hopefully new. All right, so this line, this took forever. So it is a level line marked around the entire patio. We then moved to the outside, which I did the same thing, but then I Tapcon screwed a board to it so that I can use that as a base to lay the wall up, and then I will have to piece in some pieces at the bottom. So I still need to do that here because I ran out of time, but it is done for the majority of the wall. I'm gonna start laying some tiles out, and then I'm gonna start marking the taper on all the tiles, and then I'm just gonna batch cut those so that I can just slap them up. Let's get started on that. I've had a few projects in my life that I felt that I just couldn't get done. I'm gonna share a secret. They weren't projects where I needed to learn a new skill. They weren't complicated. They were just all projects that I need to put one foot in front of the other, and because I couldn't do that, I fell flat on my face. All right, it's the next morning, and you can probably tell I got nothing done. So I tried to do some layouts so that I could at least mark all the tiles on the side that need to be tapered to cut, and that miserably failed. So what I think I'm gonna do this morning is I got rid of the kids. I sent them out to a pasture. They can go play somewhere on a farm, maybe. But what I'm gonna try and do is do all the easy stuff. So I need to motivate myself because this is not going particularly well. Usually I try and do the hard stuff first, but I can't seem to make myself do that right now. So I'm gonna start on this wall here because I can leave the corners for later because I have to miter them. I can do the big long run. I can move out to the front. I can do the big long run. I can do the outsides because there's essentially no cutting until you get to the corners. And then I can get some progress done. And then maybe I'll feel better about myself. And then I can do the stuff that's a little bit more difficult and a little bit pickier. So let's get started right into that. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix up some thin set and just get into it. I'll get all of this done. I'll burn through the tile that I have in the backyard. Then I need to move a bunch of tile and I don't know. Let's see if I can do anything today. This is the first thing I try when I know that I'm in a project that is going sideways because of me rather than the difficulty of work. Do the easy stuff. I try to shock myself into satisfaction with the job by completing a bunch of work quickly. Now, why don't I always do this? I am a pretty intrinsically motivated person. I like doing DIY work for the doing part of DIY, so the hard stuff is fun for me. I find that when I do the easy stuff first, it leaves all the difficult things for the end. Thanks, Captain Obvious. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm laying out the starts. The tile is eventually gonna go to about there. The top is 13, this is exactly half a tile. So this should give me a nice running pattern. Well, when I do that, I find that I end up stalling out near the finish line and projects take forever to finish because my motivation of just liking the work completely evaporates. Would it help if I added more metaphors for you? So I find that normally doing the difficult stuff up front when I'm excited about the job itself helps me grind through those parts. And then I have the easy, more satisfying part last. This makes me more likely to finish strongly. Make sense? I'm going to trowel it directly onto the tile. And I have a mix of spacers because I need to bring it up to this point on the wall. So all of my tiles are going to get installed to there. I'm like a full 1/4 inch low here. So I might have screwed up. And by might have, I think I screwed up on this line. It's way too high. So I'm going to need 3 tile spacers, which sucks. Good. What the heck am I going on about here? Well, to make sure the tile is level, you remember I put the line around the patio. The first row of tile needs to be installed even with the top of that line. A side effect of having a sloped patio is it's not completely level, it's sloped. Am I complaining that the space under this tile is too much and I'm annoyed by it? Who cares, you ask? Me. Well, and Reddit. I would get eviscerated for my poor work if I posted that here. So why am I even showing this? I could have cut this and moved on to something way more interesting, but this shows how projects, when I'm already down on them, keep backsliding. Little things create big annoyances, and all of those tiny things add up to me being down on myself, which really negatively affects, well, everything. Oh shit, I need to cut. Oh, I should have set this up. So I need to cut the holes for the scuppers, and I don't have my saw set up, and I don't really want to stop because my thin set's gonna kick off. Time to set up my saw. I'm just gonna space this and move on. These scupper holes allow water that falls on the patio to drain out past the wall. So obviously tiling over them defeats that purpose. Is cutting the holes in the tile hard to do? No, but as before, any small unanticipated thing is creating a problem for me, building my frustration. So I screwed it up a bit. I went too far, but whatever. Oh, I should test fit this. All right, good. There we go. All right, so realistically, we're just doing that over and over and over again. So once I finish this first row, we'll come back because then we'll start bombing in the second row as we go, and that should be quite a lot faster. And then we'll see after that. First row is done, so I should be good now to go up to here, and then the top I need to put in this conduit here still. And I haven't decided how I'm gonna do that easily. Not too horrible. So let's get going on these other rows. You can hear from my voice that I'm in quite a bit better mood. Doing some of the easy work ended up helping me get out of a bit of the funk. However, I think that at this point of the project, I got a little bit of a wake-up call. Although this job is only 200 square feet of tile, it's gonna take me way more time than I thought. Here I am just using the small offcuts as spacers to support the tiles above where the corners will go in the future. Hopefully, this will let me tile them without issue. It's the next day and we're back and we got a lot of stuff done. It's definitely not a week later, and I definitely did not do anything over the last week. It's been a long time. I ended up getting all of the kind of easy stuff done. So all the main wall, full stone is done. Over here, we got a lot done over here, and then I have over here to do. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here today. I have a taper here. Here is a full-size tile. There is 3 inches left. As you can probably tell, I'm in a much better mood than I was last time, so hopefully this will go pretty well. I've almost blown the entire summer on this project, so we'll see what we can get done and see how quick this goes. Otherwise, it's gonna kind of last till the kids go back into school and I'll have a little bit more time on my hands. If you've ever needed to cut a taper tile, the easiest way is to flip the tile backwards. It's then easy to use the level line to mark the tile for the cut. Now it's just rinse and repeat for the rest. That took about 45 minutes. So I got all of these done. Now I think just because I'm into it, I'm gonna do these ones right now too, just because I'm in the flow. And then I'll come back, I'll mix up some thin set. I'll get all these thin setted. I'll get all these up. I'll get all those up and then we'll go from there. I'm just using standard white thin set mortar. That way if it bleeds through or kind of gets on the front face, it's easy to clean up. You heard me right at the start of this day. The summer is almost gone. But you also heard something else. I am back in the flow, out of my slump. Now, what did it actually take to get me to get out of it? Some of it was I did the easy things to get back on track. Some of it is that it just happens and I can't really pinpoint it. That's why it's important to just fight through the slog. We're not even going to talk about time anymore. The time is irrelevant in my life at this point in time. It's totally not like a month later. And summer's totally not over and I'm still not done this project. To that end, we have some of the harder stuff to do now. So most of the stone is on everywhere. But now what we have to do is each of these areas where there's a light, I need to bore a hole in the center of a tile so that way we have something to actually pull the wires through and hide all these channels. I'm gonna go get some clamps. I'm gonna clamp this into place on the wall here so that it just stays put. And then I can start setting my tiles in until I get the next one over here. And so I'm just gonna cut all these up right now. To someone viewing this from outside, am I back on track? They'd probably say no. Something that should have taken me 2 weeks at most is now sitting around 3 months, which, by all measures of a project, is a failure. I am a failure, right? Let's talk about that in a bit. Now, I can make all kinds of excuses as to why this took so long. We had a really crappy raining spring that set me back almost a month. I'm a stay-at-home dad, so that delay pushed this project into the summer. Doing this type of work with elementary school kids needing attention is impossible. We also had lots of camping and vacations planned, so my time was super limited. There, I covered off the basis of why this took so long. Does that help me mentally? Not me personally. Maybe it helps you. All right, so we still have quite a bit of work to do here on the corners doing miters, but what I needed to figure out was what my top cap was gonna be, because I had a few ideas here. This is what I thought the option was gonna be. Purchased wall top cap. The issue is I hate the color. I wanted a medium gray, more like a limestone. This is way more of a browny color rather than a blue tone, so I'm not happy with it. I looked for some custom options, so then I looked at another option here where I take 2 of the flamed granite, glue them together, cut them, and then my third option is the single thickness top. Oddly, I like the skinniest the most. Here's the reason why I needed to make this decision. These edges here have to be a miter no matter what. On edges like this, what if I just had it waterfall down? These don't need to be miters at all. That can be a miter and it just has a nice covering. I think what that'll do is it'll make it a little bit more modern. I think the look will be a little bit nicer. I'm not super confident with my ability to do really nice miters the same way that people on countertops can do, especially in the quantity that I have to do. So what'll happen is this will be a waterfall, that'll be a waterfall, and then the 2 fronts. And it'll just give a little bit of interest on it. With that being the plan, the first thing that I need to do now is fill in all of these areas that are gonna have a waterfall on it. so that I just brick, or I just tile to the edge of them, making sure that I have a really, really square 90. So once all of that is done, we need to tackle these, which are the miters. What I essentially figured out is a good way to cut them. Now you can see I chipped the edge out here. Front face is not great. Some of that is the fact that this is flamed granite, so it won't cut nicely. If I did my job right, I measured right. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So when I go, I'm gonna cut a whole bunch more stuff. When I go to glue it on the wall, we'll come back. Okay, so I fit all of these corners. They look good. I did the other side. I've actually done every corner that I have. So I should be able to just now take this bucket of thin set that I mixed up and then go do everything, hopefully. So the way I'm gonna tackle this is I'm gonna put on the wide ones first. And the reason that I'm gonna do that is I want to use an adhesive on the miters themselves. I'm gonna use Sitka Anchor Flex. The problem with doing that is the tube will kick off in 6 minutes. I'll probably throw a bunch of these up and then I'll probably do a corner without you guys seeing so that it looks half decent when I do it the next time. And I need to get this done PDQ. Put the thing on top of it. I'm likely to put on more than I actually should. What I'll do is I'll come back and put some epoxy and some stone dust in there after. Starting to get a little hard, so I think I need to move a little bit faster. So you can see that the second one up has a big chip in it I need to fix. Same thing with third one up. So we'll do that with some epoxy after the fact, but if you don't look at it from 2 seconds away, pretty darn nice corner if I say so myself. Okay, so since this epoxy tube is kicking off and I need to get this done now, I'm done filming. I'll show you guys at the end. These are super nice. I'm really happy with them.
Here's my real #1 tip for not being an absolute failure in a project like this. Keep going. When I had a reasonable amount of time, I did work. This doesn't show in the video because I didn't record it all. If you are in this type of really crappy project with really crappy time available to you, thinking there's no point in going and installing tile today, I only have an hour, you will fail.
We finished cutting all the caps. I got them all fitted. So today what I have to do is fill these tops. So this is what I got to fill. And so I need to make sure all of these joints are filled. I'm just going to go take some caulking, caulk up, make sure everything is watertight so that this is going to be a bathtub. All right, so next step is to put a primer down. What you'll find is if you don't do this, your self-leveling won't stick long-term. You'll end up with cracking. I'm gonna go and brush a coat over all of this and then we can put the self-leveling on. It goes on in a really nice shade of pink. So just pour some on and then roll it out.
Thinking there's no point in going and installing tile today, I only have an hour, that thought is the death knell of your project. Because when is the next time you're gonna have a full day? Maybe next weekend? What happens if that timing isn't perfect? A month, 2 months, another year? But if you take that 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever is available to me, this job will eventually get done, even if I only do 1 tile per day. Is that intrinsically satisfying? No! Exclamation mark. It's a slog, a miserable, horrible, no good, very bad time. But it is and was my only way out. So I did it.
So all of the top cap is now cut and fit. All of the waterfalls are cut. So now let's slap them up.
Here's what everyone should understand about DIY projects. You are going to run into a project like this that sucks. You are going to hate your life. It could be the project that you were most excited for, like this one was for me, or one that you know you're going to hate. It doesn't really discriminate.
So I did a bunch of this already. I did all this side. So this is exact same as grouting tile, except it's super textured, so it sucks a whole bunch. So I'm just troweling it in and then rinsing it off over and over. And I think I'm gonna have a lot left over, so I might have to pressure wash this afterwards. So I'm not waiting, I'm not letting it haze, I'm just taking it straight off because there's huge amounts on the face. There we go, let that set up. Really should have something down on the floor. So what I'm doing here is pulling the adhesive and the sand off the wall, and then I'll have to go back and get the haze. So the sand gets stuck in the pores of the sponge because you fill up all the pores in the grout, and then it doesn't wipe off anymore, and it just smears it around. So the cleaner you can make it on this pass, the better off you are.
You see that in front of you? It's winter. That's how long this project took and why this video is so late.
All right, we are now done this wall. There's a few little things to touch up in a few places, but all of the grouting is done. All the top cap is done. All of the grouting on the top cap is done. I was going to do epoxy on these, but it didn't work. So what I did is I just used a diamond blade and cut the grout joint a little bit larger and then used a non-sanded grout on the top. But this is done. I'm gonna do a little bit of round over later. But next time you see this, I'm gonna be going and putting some lighting in here.
When is your project actually a failure? When you quit. I didn't quit, it got done, and it looks nice, so I guess I'm not actually a failure. This time. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.